evening, ghosts and ghouls. You're listening to a horrible podcast.
Good evening. I'm JT Ripper.
And I'm Todd of Thunder.
And it's March, so you know what that means. Grab your shillelaghs and your pot of gold. It's time to count down from 8 to 1, the Leprechaun franchise.
Yes, we will be ranking the Leprechaun series.
Franchise.
Movies.
Yep,
this is primarily, I would say, a 90s franchise. It started in the 90s.
Yeah, pretty much.
So
it's where it hit its peak and downfall.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I want to say that it's looked down upon, but that's okay. If the Leprechaun is B-rated movies, then, it's B-rated fucking gold. So, no pun intended. Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was. That was pretty good, Jeff Rowe.
Well, I guess starting off my list at number 8.
Number 8. It's probably the same as mine.
Well, mine is from 2018. And it is Leprechaun Returns.
Woo, really?
Yeah. This was like a straight to sci-fi movie. And of course, Warwick Davis did not return to play the Leprechaun. It was a different little person. It was okay. I dug the setting. They took it back to the original, like the first film in the house and stuff. And they brought back, that one character. I can never think of his name. But you know what I'm talking about, the big fat dude.
Yeah. Did play in the first.
Yeah, they killed him off.
Yeah. But he's back.
They killed him off, and then he kind of showed back up as kind of like a ghost, kind of like Ed Hawley. In the later Pumpkinhead movies.
You did this to yourself, Leprechaun.
But like I said, it was a television sci-fi movie, and you could tell it was a television sci-fi movie. The language and the delivery of the lines in this movie were very strange.
Yeah, it's very cringy. And not in a good cringy neither, honestly.
I mean, if you've never seen this movie, watch it. You'll get a good kick out of it, which is going to be most of these movies. But, the little guy that played... first of all, his makeup looked really weird.
Off. He looked more like a witch than the actual...
Yeah. He sounded like a fucking witch, too. He really,
he didn't have that leprechaun flair to him.
Yeah, but anyway, that's my number 8.
Well, Origins is my number 8. To me, it was like Jason Goes to Hell, but Leprechaun. The fucking wiggle worm. I just didn't dig it, It's not a Leprechaun movie. I mean, at least Leprechaun Returns was somewhat resemblance of a Leprechaun movie. This one, it was just, if you didn't call it a Leprechaun movie, it wouldn't even resemble anything that would make you think of a Leprechaun movie. This is why it's number 8 on mine.
Yeah, I get it. Well, coming in at number 7 on my list is from 2003, and it's Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
Jeez.
Yeah. Back to the Hood. I mean, like I said, I watch all these films. I'm not going to shit on them too much because it's no reason to shit on them. I mean, they are what they are. So, yeah, Back to the Hood, it kind of just continues the story, just... it's just not as exciting to me as...
It's not good.
It's
got some good one-liners in it.
Yeah, that's basically what you watch these for. It's got some good one-liners, got some good, if you want to see the Leprechaun smoking pot and getting high with the bong and doing all the stuff.
A friend with weed is a friend indeed.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. But that's my number 7.
Yeah, that's my number 7 too, actually. I'll jump in. My number 6 is Leprechaun Returns.
Okay.
I thought it was a little bit better than the previous two, but like by a twat hair. Just barely. Honestly, Back to the Hood and this one can like be switched like very easily because I almost kind of want to flip it right now thinking about the one-liners.
Yeah, they're interchangeable, to be honest with you.
They're just not good movies. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much touched on Back to the Hood and Returns. I mean, I'm not going to beat a dead horse. They don't deserve... Don't bother with these bottom 3. How's that?
Well, at least until you've watched the top ones.
Yeah.
Well, coming in my number 6 is the last Leprechaun movie from the 90s, which came out in 97, which is Leprechaun-horror in Space.
In Space.
Now, no, it's not a good movie. But I don't care. It's fucking goofy. It's corny. It's everything that a 1997 direct-to-video movie looks like. And I love it. Don't care. Especially at the end when the fucking leprechaun gets blown up. Well, first he...
Yeah, I'm just thinking about it.
Well, first he gets like this giant, and then he like fucking blows up, and then I don't know. It's really weird. The cast of characters in this, you had like the one fucking robot, half robot dude.
Yeah,
that he was like hairless.
You know what this movie reminded me of? It reminded me if Leprechaun met Spaceballs.
Yeah, kind of. And,
But that's the charm of this movie. It's so, like, this is a good, bad movie, as we like to put it. Like, this is like, you watch this movie with your friends for the entertainment of how bad and funny this movie is.
Absolutely. Again, I remember renting this movie from the video store, and, it did exactly what it was supposed to do. It made me laugh. So
yeah, it was good. That one's actually a little bit higher on my list. My number 5 is Leprechaun in the Hood.
In the Hood.
In the Hood. This was the first time.
My number 5 is Leprechaun in the Hood as well. This is the first Leprechaun movie that started off in the 2000s. It actually came out in 2000. So
yeah, it came out in 2000. This one, the second one is really bad, but this one is actually kind of enjoyable. It's
Ice-T's in it.
Yeah, it's not like bad good, but it's actually good. Pretty good story. Pretty good, graphics. It's just a pretty solid, it's on par with Leprechaun Goes to Space to me.
Yeah.
It's not as cheesy as Leprechaun Goes to Space. This one's actually more serious.
Yeah, and I like this one a lot better than Back to the Hood because, they did everything in this movie and basically everything in Leprechaun Back to the Hood rehashed it, but just didn't do it as well, Yeah. So it's like everything that you saw in Back to the Hood, you already saw it in the first one, but it was just done better, in my opinion.
Yeah, plus they had, the weird thing where, he bites people and they become a leprechaun. And
yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's weird.
But... kicking off my number 4 is the last of what I call the not so great Leprechaun movies, which is Leprechaun Origins.
I'm surprised it's that high on your list.
Well, the only reason I put it on there is because I think from a movie standpoint, it's a pretty good movie. The Leprechaun in it is not the Leprechaun that we've come to know. It's more of a animal type of deal where it's going around and it doesn't talk. It doesn't make any noises. Well, I mean, it does make noises, but it doesn't like have any one-liners like Warwick Davis or whatever. This is more of a fucking animal or something, and it's called Origin, so I look at it like, okay, this is what the leprechaun was and probably should have been the whole time until, like, I don't know, something happened to him that he was advanced and could learn how to talk and do all this other shit.
Yeah.
I guess. But, I mean, if they would have started off the Leprechaun movies to begin with like this, where it's just a relentless creature type of deal, it certainly would have been more serious, and it certainly would have been like more geared towards horror. Yeah. But it definitely wouldn't have been as memorable as, you know, your one-liners from Warwick Davis, which is a direct, you know, it's a direct influence from, you know, your Freddy Kruegers. I mean, Freddy was so successful being a sadistic, smart-ass bastard. Why not have a little leprechaun do the same thing? Chucky the same way. So, yeah. But yeah, he wasn't exactly, as far as, you know, the leprechaun I want to see, it wasn't that, but it was a little bit more serious of a movie. The rest of the cast kind of carried it and made it, you know, like it was legitimately frightening. Yeah. So that's the only reason I don't shit on it too much. But the top three.
Well, I got to give my number 4.
I know. I'm not finished with my thought.
Well, finish.
The top 3 is really where it's at. That's why I say my 4 through 8 are kind of like the bottoms of the, like, not so good ones. 1 through 3, I think they might not be good movies either, but they're at least fucking really enjoyable. So,
right,
go ahead.
Well, my number 4, you've already touched on it, is Leprechaun in Space.
Space Boy.
Space Boy.
Do.
Yeah, it's one of these bad, good movies. You know, I touched on it earlier. I'm not going to beat it a horse, but the reason why I was laughing is because of the giant middle fucking finger after he blows up. It's just fucking floating by.
Yeah.
And
yeah, the more you think about it,
it's fucking ridiculous.
The more you think about it, the more you probably like that movie a lot more than you think.
That's why it's higher on my list, because I have come to the fact that I really enjoy that bad, good movie, and I laugh my ass off every time I watch it.
Yeah, it's almost like whoever made... It's almost like the person that made Xena, Warrior Princess TV show, like they went to him and say, hey, you've made a TV show all these years, can you turn this into a movie? And they were like, I don't know if I can do it, but I'll give it a shot.
I'll give it the gentleman's try.
Yeah. I mean, it's, as far as the look of that film, it looks like a fucking TNT fucking exclusive after fucking Nitro.
It's so terrible.
This fucking blunder in paradise.
It is a fucking blunder in paradise.
But it's a great blunder.
But it's so fucking good. But
yes,
our top 3 of the 8 Leprechaun movies. I think we'll be on par with these next 3.
Coming in at number 3 is from 1994, and it's Leprechaun 2.
No, we're not on par.
Nope, we're not. This is the second film, obviously, in the franchise. Yeah. And this is about the character of Marty, and the leprechaun like takes his girlfriend and holds her hostage and is supposed to marry her and everything else. And then you got the one old guy who is kind of a drunk, and you know, he wishes for the pot of gold, and the gold like comes in his stomach. And
you know what? I'm calling an audible on this because I wrote, now thinking about it, I meant to put, okay, sorry people, I get 2 and 3 mixed up sometimes, and I got it mixed up just now.
Yeah, 2 takes place in, I believe, Los Angeles.
Yes.
Where the guy does like the haunted
attractions and stuff.
Yeah,
like
like
that.
the haunted attraction tour thing. And You got a racetrack in it for some reason, and there's one guy.
Yeah.
There's a really cool death scene. My favorite death scene in the whole film is when the leprechaun, he makes a fucking fan, like a literal fan.
Yeah.
That has like steel, whatever you call them on there.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
And he makes the guy pretend, or
he believes it's the girl.
Yeah, he thinks it's the girl, but it's really a fan, and he goes to like give her some
smooches,
some smooches on the boobies, but it's not boobies. It's a metal fan, and it fucking
whacks his face,
and his fucking face goes off.
Turns his fucking face into salami meat.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite kill in that movie.
Yeah.
It's an enjoyable film. It's just the other two that's left, I find more enjoyable. So
yes, so that would be my number 3, but I put it in the wrong spot. So number 2 would be Leprechaun Goes to Vegas, baby.
Yeah, Leprechaun 3 in 1995, and you touched on it a little bit about like getting bit and turned into a leprechaun.
Yeah,
that's kind of the theme of this film. The guy like gets bit, and all of a sudden he starts acting more Irish, which is hilarious.
It's fucking terrible good.
Yeah, it's potatoes, shit like that. And
why are you talking like that?
And he gets his name is Scott, I believe, in the film.
Yeah.
And I believe he goes to the pawn shop because he ran out of money at the machines or whatnot, and he finds the gold coin, and it's a lucky coin, and he gets on a winning streak, and now everybody wants to get their hands on the coin so they can get a wish, and everything. Caroline Williams plays in this from Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2.
Yeah.
And this is awesome. You got Elvis impersonators in it and all kinds of shit. And
isn't this one the one? Sorry, lass, but I had to blow up your ass.
Yep. Caroline Williams wanted to stay young and beautiful, and he basically gives her
those Botox,
like these big Botox fucking lips and a big fucking giant bloated ass. And it doesn't stop, and it just grows and grows until she finally just burst.
Yeah.
And he has that famous line. So
yeah. Oh my God. This movie probably has the best one-liners.
Oh yeah. As far as being imaginative and being like absolutely like hilarious, like there's a scene where it's a magician, and like he's trapped in the box, and he's going to saw him in half. And like the leprechaun is asking the crowd, like, do you want me to do it? And everybody's like, yeah. And he's like in the box going, no. And like he literally cuts him in half, and he like
fucking like
reveals the box, and it's just like guts and shit falling out.
Yeah.
It's fucking great.
It is. The part 2, I believe, is where Leprechaun really found its like charm. Like, you like the iconic like Leprechaun character that you know and love is in part 2.
Yeah, and I think, we were probably the perfect age when this movie came out to like really appeal to us as far as like, being like funny, what I mean? Because it's real, like I watch it today as an adult, and it's still funny, but it really is juvenile behavior. They have like some scenes where he's like riding on the gurney, and he's doing the same thing. He'll do a pose and zoop by, and then the next time he'll fucking give you the finger when he's zooping by. And it's something that they kind of rehashed from the first one. He done it on the skateboard in the first one.
Zoop, zoop, zoop. Yeah. Welcome to the 90s humors, kid. Back when the world didn't take itself so fucking literal and serious.
Yeah, for real. So that only leaves number one, which
Number
has to
one
be
is Leprechaun in the Hood Part 2.
Yeah, Leprechaun in the Hood Part 3.
Three.
Right? No.
Juice is back, baby. Juice is back.
Juices.
Juices.
No, it's the very first Leprechaun from 1993, starring Jennifer Anderson.
Wow.
Yeah, this was one of her first feature films. And, you know, she never came back to the horror genre, so fuck her in a way, right?
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
Yeah.
I had a Wayne's World moment. Jennifer Aniston? Swing!
Yeah. But this movie is
That's
great.
because she got a job working for Friends.
Well, she got the job because of Friends.
Yeah.
Called Friends.
I love Friends.
Maybe she did a job for a friend.
Maybe she did a friend for a job. More like it in Hollywood. Anyway, the original Leprechaun is definitely it stands out the most out of all 8 movies.
Hell yeah. To me, this movie is great. It falls right in line with those great late 80s, early 90s films. You know, to me, a good double feature film, if you're thinking about doing one, would probably be Leprechaun and Tremors. Those are 2 good ones to watch back to back because they kind of have that same kind of, they're horror films, but they kind of have that charm and humor to them both.
Would you call Leprechaun, what would you call it? A creature feature, a slasher?
I guess you would call it a creature feature because it does have, he is a creature, but at the same time they explore that leprechaun mythology where they have magic and the gold gives them the power and they're kind of like, this leprechaun is nice until you fuck with his gold, but this leprechaun is kind of mean all the fucking time. So.
Yeah, it has that wish
trickery.
Wishmaster effect.
Yeah, it's like a trickery.
I wish to be skinny and beautiful. All right, well, you're gonna puke your goddamn guts out.
Yeah, it's kind of like you got to pay the price if you want, riches, and it's always kind of a cause, like getting away, like I mentioned earlier from part 2, where the guy wished for his pot of gold and he got it, but it was in his fucking stomach.
Yeah,
and then his last wish was to get it out of him. And it just didn't come out. He fucking took his claw and fucking ripped his stomach open to get it out. So he technically gave him both his wishes.
Yeah.
So,
but it's fuckery in it.
Yeah, it's fuckery.
But that's the great charm about this. Of course, these people live in this kind of Midwestern home, and after some exploring, they find a pot of gold.
Well, the house is bought by Jennifer Anderson and her father, and her father gets into an accident, so they have to take him to the hospital. So he's pretty much out of the whole film. And they're fixing up the house, and what is his fucking name? The fat guy, I can't never think. Hoagie? I don't know. They find the fucking gold coin or whatever because him and the boy chase the rainbow to this rusted old truck, remember?
Yes.
And that's where it all begins.
Ozzy,
yeah.
Ozzy.
And
Mark Holton.
They've been, this leprechaun has been trapped in this crate because of a 4-leaf clover. But as soon as that 4-leaf clover is knocked off of the crate, the leprechaun is allowed out of the crate to wreak his havoc. So, and it doesn't take long to, get the movie started. I do think it's funny though, because one of the ways that they try to slow him down is they throw old shoes at him, and he was like a boot maker, and he picked up every single pair to shine it.
Yeah, it's like an old wives' tale.
Yeah.
To stop a leprechaun, you have to put dirty shoes and stuff like that because he has to clean them. And you can't just leave them be.
And of course, the 4-leaf clover. the first film does a lot as far as kind of set rules that none of the other fucking movies ever followed, but they at least try to establish like some old mythology to it. So, and that's probably the best reason why the first one is the best, because not only the way it's shot, but there were rules and things that you had to follow. And, 1993 wasn't the early 90s, it was few and far between horror films coming out. So the fact that we got a film like Leprechaun, which, wasn't a big film at the time, but became a cult classic over time is pretty good.
Yeah, it's definitely, if you have some time, check out these movies.
Yeah, definitely at least the first three. Watch the first three, and if you're invested and you want to see the goofiness taken to the next level, just continue after that. That's the best advice I could give you.
Yeah, but just be warned, it goes downhill after 3.
Well,
I mean, it goes downhill, but like there's still some like diamonds in the rough.
As far as a movie goes, it goes downhill. But if you want like silly shit,
it gets better.
Yeah, it gets better. So
let's let's do our rating of these. We didn't do our rating. Well, I'll just go off the movie, and then we'll just give. We're not going to go in order. We'll just go from All right, so what would you give Leprechaun Origins?
Leprechaun Origins, I'd probably give it a 6.
6. See, I give it a 3. Leprechaun Returns.
Leprechaun Returns, I'd probably give it a 2.5.
I give it like a 3.5. Leprechaun in the Hood.
Leprechaun in the Hood, I'd give it 6.5.
I give it a 6. Leprechaun Back to the Hood.
I give that probably maybe 4.5.
That's reasonable. I'm on par with that one. Leprechaun 4 in Space.
Leprechaun 4 in Space. I'm gonna just give it a solid 6.
I can live with a 6. 6 feels pretty good with that one. Leprechaun 3.
Leprechaun 3, the one in Vegas. I really enjoy that one, so I'm going to give it a 7. Let me take it back. I'll give it a 7.5.
I was going to say, I was 7.5 for that one. Leprechaun 2.
Leprechaun 2, solid 7.
Solid 7, yeah. I think it's like right under 3. And Leprechaun.
The first Leprechaun, I have no problem giving it an 8. It's one of my favorite 90s horror films.
Yeah, I want to give it like an 8.5, but I feel comfortable with giving it a solid 8 out of 10 because I don't think anything in this franchise, unfortunately, goes up to a 9 or even hits close to a 9. But the original definitely comes the closest out of them all.
Yeah, and again, the movies. The first movie is the only movie in this whole franchise that's truly worthwhile watching, honestly. But the character of the Leprechaun, as far as Warwick Davis playing it, is a 10. He's definitely you'll remember him.
Well, I mean, he's doing great shit right now with Willow. So, I mean, I believe he's won some awards with that. He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, Leprechaun falls in the Candyman and the Hellraiser categories, where most of the movies might not be all that great, but to me, it's still an iconic character.
And I think it still has potential of like being re-imaged or requels. I think this one deserves a requel, just like Candyman deserved a requel.
Yeah,
you ain't got to reboot it. you can just go off the first one. If you want to get rid of everything past one, go off the first one.
Well, you know, they had the right idea with Leprechaun Returns. They just didn't have the budget or the wherewithal to make it decently. So,
yeah, I mean, right idea, just didn't execute it very well. Well, I'm JT Ripper.
And I'm Todd of Thunder saying, who took me Lucky Charms?
You're an idiot.
Toodaloo.
That was fun. This shall pass. Sorry, lass, but I had to blow up your ass.